Hi, this is Joymahidul. At first, if you like the video, please share it with your friends and your respected comment below here. For video clips, all credits go to the movie owners. We make which are truly hidden gems to entertain people. This video is all about explain the movie from our own point of view. For explanation, we have used most of the video clips for the movie for the better understanding. Stay with us till the end. Enjoy the video.
Today I will make sense of a thriller film called Obsession from 2019. Spoilers ahead. Look out and fare thee well. The film begins with Sunny. He is venturing out to another city in a transport, with the goal that he can find a task. As he doesn't have a spot to remain, every one of his things are in his rucksack. He gets down from the transport and plans to shave and get new in a public bathroom, previously going to the new employee screening in the vehicle studio. Sunny arrives at the vehicle studio and tells the proprietor that he is searching for a task and he is a talented repairman. The studio proprietor rejects him, saying that he needs no new workers and all occupation positions are filled. Sunny gets frustrated and leaves the studio with broke trusts. It's evening time now. As Sunny doesn't land the position, he doesn't have a spot to remain. He strolls by the lodging, which says $29.99 each evening. It was very costly for him. He before long understands that he's destitute on his absolute first night in another town, having to rest on a seat till he finds a new line of work and can manage the cost of a space to remain. He sits on a seat in the back rear entryway, shutting his eyes, thinking nobody is near, yet he out of nowhere hears some man attempting to mug an elderly person who is getting into a vehicle. The elderly person is too shocked to even consider talking and starts hollering, requesting that the hooligan leave him. Yet, the hooligan, without mindful, assaults the elderly person and wounds him with a blade in a few spots. Seeing this, Sunny shows up in the scene and pushes the hooligan back and begins hitting him with his knapsack. The hooligan imagines that Sunny may be more grounded than him and getaways from that point. Both Sunny and the elderly person were concerned. Sunny observes that the elderly person is draining and calls a rescue vehicle. Whenever the elderly person is being dealt with and wounds are being sewed up, he presents himself, expressing that his name was George, and was discussing the way in which he would hurt the hooligan, assuming that he at any point meets him once more. The corp and George both expressed gratitude toward Sunny. Sunny tells them that guarding George was the main choice to do in that. Later, paramedics needed George to sign a few papers, and George's young Russian spouse Larissa appeared. She said that she would deal with papers and welcomes George with concern. George began clearing up for his significant other how Sunny saved his life. Larissa investigated Sunny's eyes and was appreciating him. George begins to ask Sunny what his identity is and how he helps his living. Sunny doesn't have response to for those inquiries since he's jobless. He lets George know that he has no spot to remain and something important to take care of. Every one of his effects are with him in his rucksack, and that's it. George and Larissa were grateful to Sunny for saving George's life, so they welcomed Sunny to their farmhouse for supper. Sunny goes to George's farmhouse for supper. While eating, George begins a discussion, getting some information about his calling. Sunny lets George know that he is a talented technician and can fix anything with wheels on it, however, doesn't have some work yet. As George's ranch specialist left the occupation long back, he requested that Sunny take that work. George likewise gave a spot to remain at the ranch for Sunny. Yet, George doesn't see that all through the supper, Sunny was flirting with Larissa and respecting her body. Presently, Sunny was in his cabin opposite the primary house. Through his window he can plainly pay attention to George and Larissa's discussion in their room. Larissa was worried about allowing a vagrant to reside in their own home. George converses with Larissa and advises her that, indeed, even they were poor once. He additionally says that he is old and Sunny would take great consideration of his homestead and its gear. Following day George takes more time to the carport, furthermore, shows him the carport and clears up for him his everyday work. Once more, Sunny and Larissa were taking a gander at one another while Sunny was occupied with fixing a vehicle. Larissa was watching out of the window and seeing Sunny. One more day Larissa spruces up perfectly, wearing an excellent outfit. She waters the blossoms on her patio as Sunny was washing himself with a hose subsequent to working in a hot and sweat-soaked day. One more day Larissa was sitting on a swing in her yard and was imagining like perusing a book, however she was subtly giving mischievous focuses on Sunny. Sunny began to comprehend that both were having an unusual quiet association working between them. One night Sunny was watching through of his window. What's more, saw Larissa remaining in her window wearing a silk robe, unfortunately looking at the sky as George was wheezing away in the room and Larissa was conscious and alone. At this point it was clear for Sunny that George was satisfying Larissa's monetary requirements yet not different necessities. She was a lot more youthful than George and had different cravings than George. One day Larissa strolls up to Sunny during his work in the carport and asks him not to look at her through the window. Yet, Sunny tells her that, assuming she realizes that he was looking at her, then, at that point, it implies she was additionally checking him out. Sunny confidently makes a motion to Larissa that he prefers her. Larissa was additionally invigorated inside. That evening, each of the three of them were eating together. After supper Larissa was doing dishes in the kitchen. George requests that Sunny go along with him for a beverage of bourbon and asks him for certain glasses and ice from the kitchen. This gives Sunny the ideal opportunity to be distant from everyone else with Larissa. He remains behind Larissa with ice in his grasp and moves her hair from her face with one hand, saying she is so hot. Before Larissa can respond, Sunny begins scouring the ice solid shape on her neck and starts snatching her from behind. Later he keeps his hands inside her pullover, also begins scouring her with the ice 3D square all around her breasts. Then again, he invigorates her over her dress and makes it extraordinary sensual second for the two of them. Both were extremely certain that there is a sexual interest among them and can do a lot more sensual things in future. While they were exceptionally close, George hollered from the family room asking Sunny for what reason he was taking such a lot of opportunity to bring glass and ice. Sunny rapidly snatches glass and ice and goes into the family room. The following day, Sunny made a spotless arrangement to be alone with Larissa for several hours. George kept an extravagant red vehicle in his carport to give it to Larissa, yet it doesn't have a functioning carburetor. Sunny observes a vehicle part provider a couple of hours drive away and urges George to pick up the pace and go get the carburetor before it's sold out. George becomes invigorated and rapidly passes on to purchase the carburetor so he can have the vehicle ready for his excellent, more youthful spouse Larissa. He doesn't understand that this was generally Sunny's arrangement to invest energy alone with Larissa. George goes out to purchase a carburetor. Larissa strolls into the carport and asks Sunny how lengthy George will be no more. Sunny answers that he will not be back for 4 hours. Larissa begins leaving the carport. Sunny gets her from behind with his oily hands and gets oil all around her arms. She gets irritated and lets him know that he has made her grimy. In any case, immediately she surrenders to her longings and starts making out with Sunny energetically. They were making out with extraordinary hotness as Sunny continued to rub his oily hands everywhere, Larissa's body and making her white dress oily. He gets her and takes more time to the farm vehicle. They're still totally lip-locked with one another. They begin engaging in sexual relations and the two of them begin groaning with energy and joy. Larissa was in such a lot of delight. Also, she incidentally presses the horn of the tractor. This denotes the incredible delight for the two of them, yet when they're done Larissa feels lament. Since she was hitched, also, she's betraying her better half. Sunny feels no lament, he even doesn't comprehend Larissa's disappointment since he's not wedded. In any case, he actually need to have extraordinary sex. Larissa goes into her home and begins to shower. George gets back home, she checks out at him from her restroom window. George, who's exceptionally eager to take more time to the carport to show her the working vehicle. Larissa unclogs the bath which is brimming with oily water. She's as yet in profound lament. Each of them three are presently in the carport. Sunny begins the vehicle and advises George to take it out for a test drive. While George went for a test drive, Larissa lets Sunny know that it required some investment to get oil from everywhere, her body, which took her over an hour to clean. Sunny laughingly said that she ought to have called him to her shower sometime later. Larissa is too paralyzed to even consider talking. She lets him know that there is no sometime later and that this was only a one-time thing, not the beginning of a sexual relationship. She says that the two of them were interested and both of them have fulfilled their interest, so they ought to not have sex any longer. Truth be told, they ought to fail to remember that it didn't occur by any means and remain inside their cutoff points from here onward. As the days were passing, George began to trust Sunny to an ever-increasing extent. He began treating him practically like a relative and eating and drinks with him consistently. One night after supper, every one of them three were sitting in the lounge. George has had such a large number of beverages and was not in his detects. Sunny makes a wisecrack about a man whose spouse is laying down with another man. He makes this wisecrack as a clue to Larissa, who's sitting with George. Since George was excessively inebriated, he doesn't understand what's going on and continues to chuckle, also drinking more. Larissa realized that George had such a large number of beverages, so she gave him a cover, furthermore, made him rest on the couch. George was toasted the point that he in a flash nodded off. Larissa goes into the room and Sunny guilefully follows her. Sunny was strolling gradually looking for Larissa, since he has hardly any familiarity with this piece of the house. Abruptly Larissa shows up, out of the blue, and pushes Sunny against the divider and starts getting physically involved with him brutally. Larissa was in a sheer robe which is uncovering every one of the bends of her body and enticing. She began kissing Sunny all once again his body and before long began engaging in sexual relations on her bed. Indeed, however, Larissa obviously let Sunny know that she couldn't have ever sex again with him. She could not control herself, and the two of them were partaking in their sex and groaning uproariously while George was totally dropped in the parlor because of beverages and has no clue about what's happening in his own special bed inside his own home. Subsequent to having extraordinary sex with incredible delight, Larissa and Sunny lay close to one another and fire, opening dependent upon one another genuinely, which denotes the beginning of their mysterious sexual relationship. They begin to experience passionate feelings for and need to live respectively. In the event that they need to live respectively, they ought to remove George from the situation and Larissa can acquire the farmhouse and both Sunny and Larissa can live there together cheerfully as a team. Larissa doesn't feel great about it. She falters about Sunny's arrangement to bring down George, yet later she joins in and consents to assist him with arranging the homicide of George. They intend to make it resemble a mishap with the goal that nobody speculates them and the police would control the demise as a fair mishap. The following morning, Sunny gets desirous when Larissa kisses and embraces George. That night, Larissa was strolling from the homestead into her home and she was trailed by Sunny. As Larissa was going to go into the house, Sunny snatched her arm with force and checked her out irately. Sunny tells her that he saw her getting a charge out of George and how she was all over him. Sunny got exceptionally envious that Larissa concentrated entirely on George and seeing her in adoration with him. Larissa quiets Sunny by advising him that George is her significant other. Sunny becomes furious and compels her to twist around and begin engaging in sexual relations with her. The following day, they make an arrangement to get George under a weighty farm truck part to fix it, and keeping in mind that he was fixing it, Larissa pulls a chain and the hanging motor will fall on George and kill him. The police will pin it on the flawed chain and think that the chain broke and Larissa and Sunny won't be associated with murder. Nonetheless, at the point when the second comes, Larissa pulls the chain and the vehicle part falls on George. It kills George right away and kills him. However, tragically simultaneously it likewise squashes Sunny's hand, since he was close by, ensuring that George stays in the right spot. Sunny was concerned in light of the fact that his blood will be on the crime location too. Sunny tells Larissa not to stress over him and go out and wash her shoes, which had a parcel of blood on them. As the time elapses, the police are called and Larissa puts on a major dramatization for them with counterfeit tears so they don't presume that this is a homicide and is a matter of fact a mishap. However, the analysts are extremely shrewd and they promptly begin putting the pieces together and arrived at the resolution that something was not right about the mishap. They began questioning Sunny and Larissa. At the point when Sunny begins examining Larissa concerning what she told the police, she frenzies and starts saying they shouldn't have done this to George. Sunny quickly becomes worried about Larissa in light of the fact that, assuming Larissa is intellectually powerless and laments the murder, she can without much of a stretch admit everything to the police soon. The following not many weeks, the analysts were completely going through the proof and continued to address Larissa and Sunny. Both Sunny and Larissa were tense. Strain in the family continued to rise. Larissa also Sunny were getting more apprehensive as every day was passing and the criminal investigators would figure out everything. Sunny doesn't need the police to figure out that Larissa was additionally involved in the homicide, since he cherishes her and doesn't need her to go to prison. He decided to make admission, so he composes an admission letter to the police saying that he submitted the homicide for cash. In the end, Sunny penances himself for Larissa as he truly adores her. What's more, goes to prison while she is free yet left alone at the farmhouse without George or Sunny to stay with her. To observe more clarifications of these sorts of films, click on the recordings on your screen. Furthermore, remember to tell me how you feel about the present video in the remarks down underneath. What's more, finally, much obliged for watching.